Hey everybody, welcome back again. We're going to go ahead and fix these eyes here. We're going to make the final product with the eyes, and I'll be showing you the step by step, also the supplies you're going to need. And at the end of this video, I'll have some links in the description where you can download the pattern so that you don't have to go through and modify your own eyes. I'll have a little pattern so you can actually have a piece for the little pupil, the white portion of the eye, and also the trim. So as you can see, these are my three parts here. I have not done any work on the inside yet because we're going to leave that for the end. But basically, we're going to need to make two of these guys. One right there, one right there. So let's go over the supplies. Some things you're going to need is white and black foam. Now the foam itself, you can actually get away with just doing the black foam, and you can find these at the craft store or you can find them at Walmart. They're relatively cheap and they come in a pack of different colors, but you're just going to need some black foam. It's really thin stuff, as you can see, and we'll be gluing this down. We'll be gluing the white foam down, and we'll be gluing down the lens portion of this, but basically you just need these shapes right here. So the white one is going to go onto the white buckram. And see, this white buckram you can buy at the craft store. It comes in the one single solid color, and what we're going to do is we're going to turn that into this right here. This is the final product, and as you can see, it's a little bit gray. The shade is just a little bit off on here, but that's because on the other side it's completely black. Now why do we do that? To show you this, watch this. I'm going to keep this little blue thing here with the white over it. Can't really see through it, right? Same thing here. Can't really see through it. So as a person who's looking at the front of the face, you're only going to see a white mesh. But in the inside of it, in your mask, you're going to be able to see right through this stuff. Look at that. Perfect. You can see right through this in the black. Now if I flip it over on the white, it's a little bit harder to see. Let's take a look at that mouse right there. Boom. Look at that. So I'll show you how we're going to do that now. So you're just going to take your white piece of buckram. You're going to take some of your supplies here. The things we're going to use is the Rust-Oleum. It's a spray bottle kind. You just want to get one that bonds with plastic and other materials. We just need something to be as flexible as this fabric. Now this fabric isn't like a piece of cloth where it can bend into any shape. This is very stiff in regards to fabric, almost like a rigid. Like a soft plastic. And so we're going to be spraying on one side black and one side white. So let's go ahead and do that. Because while that's happening, we can start doing other things too. So I set up a little piece of cardboard so I can do my spraying on. I would also suggest taping it down if it's in a windy day, but you definitely want to do this outside. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to shake up your cans. I've already done mine. You shake them for about a minute or so. And then after that, you spray lightly. So your first coat is going to be very light. And you want to start from one end. It would be good if you could actually see this. You can spray at one end and come in across. If the wind's blowing in this direction, you should probably just start on this side and just go straight across. Because if you're fighting against the wind, going back the other way, then you're not going to get an even spray. But basically, I'm just going to go from one side and spray. There you go. Now, it looks like I totally missed a couple parts there. It's okay. Because we're not trying to make this thick. We're not trying to cover the holes here. We just want to cover all the grids that are there. And it doesn't matter if it gets black on the other side because we'll be spraying that back to white. And there we go. So we're going to let that We're going to let that sit for about 10 minutes. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and go back inside and start cutting things out. So the other materials you're going to need is, well, what I like to use is a plastic lens to see through. And you could accomplish this in two ways. You can either buy some tinting from the automotive store or from a general store that also sells car parts or accessories. Very thin piece tint material here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it to the shape of my eye lens here. And I'm not going to cut the shape out. I'm just going to cut a square piece out so I can put it on my piece of plastic. So this will be enough to put 2 eyes on. 1, 2. So what I've already done is I prepared already a couple of pieces of plastic with lens on, with the tinting on it. This one's very light, and I'll probably use this one as my example. But you can go as dark as 5%, or you can do 25%. There's also 35, but I like to stick with the 5% tint because it's so dark that you can't see on the inside, and then with light you definitely can see on the outside. But if you're going to be cosplaying at nighttime, then I would guess you would have to go with the 25% because 5% in the dark, you're having a hard time looking outside. So I'll show you how this works. So we got our little plastic piece. I generally just try to find any piece of plastic that is very smooth on one side, and I try to make sure that I have enough tint to cover that section there. And then I end up installing it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your little plastic piece, you're going to take your tint, you're going to add a piece of tape on the tint, and what this will do is this will help you peel away. The one side is tint and the other side is a piece of plastic to protect the stickiness to it. Oh yeah, watch as it not work. There it goes. There it is. So this sticky part's right there, right? So now I have that ready. I'm not going to be using this side, so or at least this corner, so I'm just going to tilt that in so that I have a little spot to work with. Now to make this so that it goes smoothly on, we're going to go ahead and spray it with some water. You just want to get it to be covered, right? It's you want it to be covered fully with a mist of water. That way, when you start putting this on, you're allowed to kind of move it and adjust it, and it won't stick immediately onto the plastic. The water in itself is like a little barrier in between. So if you need to get any bubbles out, you can by moving the water out of place. And after that, all you need is something thick or hard, like a credit card, and then you just push the plastic away. I have this guy right here. This is something else I can use. Hold on. Barking dogs do not do very good in video. So I'm going to take my card piece here, and I'm just going to move away the the water, until all the water is out from the inside. Now I'm going to let that dry out. I know that it's still kind of wet right now, but since I already have done pieces, I'm just going to move on to the next side. So I'm going to take my little lens guy here, and I'm just going to mark it, because I need about 2 of these pieces. And I'm going to be marking the plastic side and not the tint side. So I'm going to be marking all in here. And you can tell the difference because, of course, the film is on one side and the original plastic's on the other side. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to go ahead and trace it. You can use a Sharpie, any type of Sharpie, a small thin one or a big black one here. And I'm just going to trace all the way around. There you go. Done and done. You can see I missed something, but it doesn't matter because I'm just going to cut it out. And you just follow it across. See, that's kind of one of the reasons why I didn't mess with this out here, because I'm never going to use the outside of it. I'm always going to cut a shape out from the plastic and then use that part. So when we're doing our gluing for this section, we're actually going to be going and gluing the same side that you see here. So one side is the film, right? And the other side is that plastic part that we just drew on. When people start touching this side, you want the tint to be on the inside, because no one touches the inside of the plastic. But you might have kids that might want to touch the front, and if they scratch that little plastic film of the tint, then you'll have to redo this whole thing. So what I like to do is I like to keep the film part on the inside and the plastic part on the outside. So from here we have our little piece. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually take this white portion of the eye right here, and we're going to cut it out of the buckram that we painted already. So this is the one side black. I went ahead and paint the other side white. So I'm going to go ahead into the edge here, because you don't want to ever do your pattern and take up so much space. If you only need so much space, you can always just take a corner of it, like here. That seems like a good section. And I'm just going to Sharpie all this black part right here, just enough so that I can see that there's a shape right there. I would do another one, because I'm going to be using two eyes, just like that. Copy this out, and then cut it open. Cut these pieces out, and then we should have the mesh for that front side. So I cut one piece out already. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of trim out this into a little square so it makes it easier for me to use. See, ta-da! And then I'm going to go ahead and trace the shape. And the best part is that now that you've painted your buckram, you can use that to replace any eyes that you do. Especially with this type of mascot style, when you want to adjust the face, I mean, the eyes alone, look at this guy. The eyes alone is gonna make them look really good. You wouldn't even have to cut out any of the fabric off or pull any of the fabric off to get this project done. If you're just working the eyes, all you need is a little stitch remover, and you can buy that, or you can ask your mom or grandma to see if they have it in their sewing kit. But you just get your little stitch remover and just remove the stitches from the eye. And make sure you be patient and remove every single one, because if you start tugging on this, you're going to have big holes in here and in the fabric, and then it'll become useless. But you take out all the stitches and then pull out the eye, and then just redo your eye. You wouldn't have to touch any portion of this. You just have to fix the eyes, and it would work. So now I got my two pieces here, one side and the other side. And what's going to happen now is I have the white and the black here. And what's going to happen is I have my lens 2 right here. And I'm going to need, oh wow, I need nails. I don't have any nails to grab this guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this right here. So I need enough room inside here to glue down the white part and also cut out a spot for the lens in the white part as well. And I'll show you how to do that. So this was my lens, right? I had this as my little plastic piece, and it's going to go right there. So what I'll do is, typically I tape down everything so it doesn't move on me. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and place down where my eyes are going to be. Like this is going to be dead down in the center. All I'm going to need is about 1/4 of an inch around. that section to get that eye where I need it to be. So that's exactly where I want it at. So I'm going to tape down my shape to, you could put it on your table, on a cardboard, on anything, but you just want to tape it down so it doesn't move. I can remove this now. And I just need to get at least 1/4 of an inch in there. So I'm going to use my marker here. And I want to be on the inside. You know, I'm not on this edge because that's the part that I want to keep to glue. So I'm just going to dot this around. So I have at least of 1/4 of an inch around so that I can have a place to glue my lens down onto that white part. Just like that. Perfect. And now I can remove that. Boop. So I got to cut this out. And also this white portion in here, I got to cut that out as well. And I'll do the same thing that I just did right here for the black. Because the black portion, I'm going to need an area, oops, excuse me, dropping that. I'm going to need an area that big right there to get across. And see, and I need another 1/4 of an inch with this right here. So I'm going to mark that. And technically you don't even need this because you just start from the bottom here. You see this? You start from the bottom at least 1/4 of an inch because you're going to need a little bit of that white part. And then you can come in and do your adjustments right in here. And take your shape, put it on top. Yeah, it's covering it. I don't need any of this extra part. Don't worry if you mess up in here. If you make so many marks in here, you're going to be cutting that out. And you can either use a pair of scissors, fold it up, cut it down the middle, or you can use an X-Acto knife. An X-Acto knife, you just want to trace out the cut, or at least that area that you need done. Just like that. You just want to make sure you have enough space to glue down that white mesh. This is already going to be twice as big as your original eye, because that's where it's going to go, right there. See that? And now you have to cut out this other part right here. You do the same thing. You can bend it, cut it. You just don't want to bend this too hard because you'll leave a crease in it. You hear how hard that is? Look at that. So I'm not, see, I completely missed this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep trimming around fully. Let me show you. So I missed this all down here. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that out fully by going around some more. Just being careful, not rushing this. Not as, not as much as I need to. Until it's all completely cut out. There you go. So now I have a spot right there, spot right there, and I got my lens right there. Now this is the part where I'd say that you can see these edges in here and that they don't look so good. That's why I usually opt with a darker piece, because with a darker piece then that hides it even more. But you have to also take in consideration that inside your head is also going to be dark, right? So just having a little bit of an edge right there is not a big deal. It's not a deal breaker. But once we start gluing stuff down, you're going to see that you're going to have a lot to work with here. Look at this. You have your lens, and then you got the white mesh that's turned into dark mesh, and now you can see right through it.